We've got a Toro Recycler 22-inch here, having some issues with the drive in the rear. So as soon as you engage the drive, all you hear is crunching coming out of it. You hear just grinding of the gears. If you look here, you can see starting at that back left wheel and also on the other side there that they're not lined up if you look straight in line with the other wheel. So the top's out on them, on both of them, kind of out to the side. So they're not lined up whatsoever. I'm going to show you how to fix that. Look here. Yeah, see how that's all the way tilted to the left there? So the gears on the inside here are bad. I've already taken one of them off and confirmed that. So we've got some new wheels, but I'm going to show you how to make sure this doesn't happen again. We usually do it once a year, almost always on these models for the different customers we have as far as the tune-ups. We have to realign them again. So I've seen some other things done as far as, washering some things out here and moving the whole thing out. In my opinion, way too much time for something like this. It only takes a couple seconds as far as a fix goes, Dealer would say, hey, replace the whole axle. I think that's kind of silly. So we'll show you how to do this a nice, easy way. We'll put a couple wheels on it, get it realigned, get it back up and going. So you're going to need a 1/2 inch to take the wheels off. You use a socket. And we'll throw this thing up on the back here. So grab the first one here. Just zip the wheel right off of there. Please note there is a spacer in there. That's actually not supposed to come out. That's part of the wheel. But there is another spacer here that you've got to make sure goes back in on the plastic. So it goes straight down in here. If that's not in there, your wheel will keep falling off. So you want to make sure there's no cracks or anything in this. If there are, replace it. This one looks like it's in good shape. But the wheel, you can see, is ground down at an angle. The gears on the inside of this wheel here. So the pins are coming out. This one's pretty well busted up. So what we're going to do to straighten this back out, a lot of times I like to put the bolt back in. You can kind of see from there where you need to go to get it back level. And it's not rocket science. You just have to be, straighter than it was. So if you're looking at it from there down a straight line, you can see that it needs to go out to be level. So, going out to be level, we like to just use a breaker bar here. What we like to do is just take that, and you're just going to barely bend it, just like that. And that's just getting that wheel to where it's completely parallel to this gear here. This gear doesn't go bad because it's just sitting against metal or just sitting against plastic. There's nothing to really grind it down. Normally it stays perfect. But as long as your bolt here is parallel to this shaft here, it's gonna mesh with the gear on the wheel perfectly. So I'm looking there and I'm seeing it's just perfect as far as this level goes. Maybe just a tiny bit up still. So you see that? Again, it should go both ways and be parallel to that gear once you're done. It's still not quite there, and you'll do this to both sides. You're just going to make sure that that's parallel to your gear. That axle gets bent inward from all the weight put on it. So let's go ahead and put this wheel back on here. It looks like, to me, like this needs to maybe come down a little bit. We'll look at the other side here and see if it needs to come down a little bit. Let's throw this wheel on real quick, see what it looks like. So these are Toro 138 3216s. OEM wheels from the manufacturer. Zip this back on here real quick. Oops. Almost forgot my guard and my... Again, make sure that spacer is down in there. It does have to stay. However you want to do it to get it together. So, just match that right up like such to the backhand side here. I was just going to see how that wheel goes or looked, but I mean it looks almost perfect, I believe, anyway. We're going to see here. Go ahead and screw it back on. If it can get lined up here. So you want to make sure that fits into the notch at the back there, where it goes. Everything's nice and free. Angle-wise, that front's just sitting at a tiny angle since I'm up top. Let me take it off of here real quick. Now that's just, so when you're looking at it, if it's square here, square with your whole body, you know, I mean, you can see that it goes directly to the front. So there's no deviation this way. So it's not sitting crooked like this, toed in or toed out or toed up or out, either way. So we've just bent that back straight. That way all those gears mesh up right in there. So the other one's even worse. If you look at it, see how far out and how bad it is. The front wheel's a little leaned in or leaned out on this one. So it will normally be leaned in a little bit more. Not too terribly worried about that right this second though. Makes it a little bit harder to visually line it up. Let's get this one here going. So, right here we're going to go ahead and take that other side off. Again, make sure that's all in there like it should be. Yeah, this one barely wants to come out. It's just kind of stuck up in there. If you've got a bunch of stuff on the end here, or a bunch of rust or anything like that on your screw, you want to get that off before you throw that in there. Oh, that one's not bad. A lot of times they're real badly rusted up and you'll need to sand that down before you put it in. Never hurts to put a little lube anyway, but we're going to put that all together real quick. So that'll go on once we're done here. I guess I want this screw here for this. But if we're looking here, we're seeing that thing is sitting way far in that way, and it's sitting way far in that way. So we're just going to take it, and we're going to bend it straight out first, just a little bit, and we're going to come forward here, just like that. So to me, it still looks like it's a little bit down on that side. So I'm going to go ahead and move it this way, back around, and take this side out a little bit more. Just to straighten that out and bend that back around. That went a little past where the adjuster was supposed to go. To me, eyeball wise, it looks pretty close. It might be just even a little bit too far back to where I went too far. Let's see here. Bend that just a tiny bit back. You just want to get that real eyeballed in there real nice. You don't want to go too far either way. It still looks like it may be a little bit out this way, so let's see if we can fix that. And again, you're just going to want to make sure that whole thing's bent into submission to where it needs to go. So there's not a whole lot as far as that goes that will cause anything to be ruined here, and it's just kind of a trial and error, you know. As long as everything's lined up after everything's done, the gears mesh, there's really no wrong way of doing it. But you do want to make sure they mesh up, so let's see what that does for us. All right. As far as straightness goes there, I'd say it's maybe, yeah, I mean, it's pretty straight. Let's set it down here. Let's see. Yeah, see, that other one's not quite straight, but as far as frame to frame here, you've got a straight wheel now, And this one's just a little bit off going right because it's kind of a bad wheel. If I hold it where it's actually straight there, you're in a perfect line. So you can also take like a long level here, and you can just kind of go along there and see kind of where you're at, you know. I mean, we're at a couple feet off. Yeah, I mean, we're pretty darn close at right there straight. So, and that's on both sides. You just want to, again, it's not rocket science. It doesn't have to be 100% perfect, but you want this as straight up and down on both sides as you possibly can. So that may even look like it needs to come out a tiny bit more on the top. Let me give it one more little go here. And you usually do it with the wheel off so you don't break it, but I'm not going to touch the wheel while I do it. So for where I'm going, oh yeah, now that's just perfect. So it was still just not quite, it was towed in just a tiny bit. Now it's just great. We're good to go. I'm going to let this down here real quick. We'll fire it up, give it a apparently the electric started. So looking at each wheel there, you know, after seeing it running and everything like that, we're not getting any more grinding out of it. We're not getting any more gear noise, and the self-propel is working all the time. So that means we've got our issue fixed. That means these gears, this one wasn't as bad on this one, even though that other side looked worse. The gear wasn't as bad, but it was so much more angled. So now that we've got those realigned and the new wheels put on there, that'll get some more life out of this unit for years to come, you know, and it won't wear those wheels out as bad now that they're straightened out. That's how to fix your Toro Recycle in any of the rear wheel drive versions. They all do this. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe.